Top of the day, beautiful people. Take my bless up, Anita. Shalom, shalom. All right, beautiful people. Hope y'all enjoyed y'all day off yesterday. Shalom, shalom. Tell her, hey girl, hey. You found out what happened? Okay, sis, let me know. Vinette, greetings. Tanya, Grand Rising, says Tabitha. Remember, Tabitha is Keon Cooper. She using her son account up here on YouTube with Tabitha. Shalom. Keep Infinite Rising, Children of Jehovah, Set Apart Living. Grand Rising, y'all. Look, I think Set Apart. I think I seen the other person that's using the same name, because for some reason she started popping up in my feed. And hers, if we're talking about the same one, her channel is Set Apart. I think it's Set Apart 144. It could be Set Apart Living 144. Is that the same channel you're talking about? Because all of a sudden she started popping up in my feed. I was like, oh, maybe this was who she talking about. It could be somebody different, but that was interesting that she started popping up in my feed. But she, at this moment, I think she's the other channel. She's fully Christianized. At this point, seemed like a pretty cool sister, but she doing a lot of prophecy on her channel. Lindsay, ya shalom. Yeah, you're Set Apart Living TV now, right? Yeah, I definitely can see the difference. There's difference between y'all channels, right? We know she's still growing. I say the beloved sister's still growing. Elijah, Grand Rising. All right, beautiful people. It is Saturday. Welcome. August the 20th, 2022, day 190 of year 4 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets. Another 4-year consecutive day count, day 1,208. And today we're picking back up in God's book of being on page 456. Father, help us to understand your creation. Please help me to understand all this terminology and stuff about the vortex. Because I'm like, what? I got to keep reading it over. Okay, y'all. Hold on. Okay. All right. I think it just needs to like set in. I got to read over it quite a few times and just make sure I'm not mixing my own self up while I'm reading through this. All right, y'all. So chapter 4, page 466. Man said, what then shall I believe? If great learning have not proven anything real, if science is based on falsehood, and if there be no natural laws, shall I not give up my judgment? Whatever is at variance with my judgment, shall I not turn away from it? It hath been said, the soul of man never dieth. No one can know this save Jehovah. It hath been said, Jehovah is a person. No one can know this, for his magnitude is incomprehensible. Is the soul of man made of oxygen or hydrogen? Give me light that is real. I can say of what man's mortal body is made. Let me read it all again. Verse 4. Is the soul of man made of oxygen or hydrogen? Give me light that is real. I can say of what man's mortal body is made. Jehovah said, my divisions are not as man's divisions. Behold, I create one thing within another. Neither space, nor place, nor time, nor eternity standeth in my way. The soul is S-E-S, for spirit. Man inquired, if the dwelling place for the spirits of the dead be up in the firmament, how is it created? What resteth it upon? And how dwelleth the soul of man in heaven? If the S-man hath feet and legs, how doth he walk? Hath his arms changed into wings, or rideth he on the lightnings? God said, already goeth thy soul thitherward, but it cannot take thy body with it. Thy corporal judgment cannot cope with spiritual things. As thou traveleth, so is it with the spirit of the dead. When thou hast quit thy corporal body, behold, thy spirit will be free. Whithersoever thou desirest to go, thou shalt go. All right, so before we flip the page, I'm going to show you these pictures up here. Stephen, shalom, shalom. Have fun on the treadmill, Tikva. Shoot, I need to start my morning exercise back. I be trying to get it done later in the day, which is clearly not working for me because I never get to it. So it definitely has to be before the morning video. Shebrew walking in quietly in the back. Hey, girl, hey. Okay, look. Okay, so this first plate 25, is the organic wart. So I'll show you this. For real, look like stuff my kids be drawing. This is the organic wart, right? And down here is plate 26, GA. The earth, and the earth is the white spot right here. The earth in GA. So the earth and the GA, yeah, right here. I think everybody on both Facebook and YouTube can see it if I hold it like that. All right, and so plate 27 up here is the shattered wart, W-A-R-K. Right here at the bottom, plate 28, the earth in Aji. So this is the earth, and this is Aji, the darkness. Okay. Page 468. And I'll take a picture of those, and I'll post it in the community section before the day over with. Hopefully, I'll just do it right after we're done with the video. Verse 11, page 468. Nevertheless, thou shalt go only as thought goeth. Let me go back. So after you already quit your spirit, quit your body, and you're fully born in the spiritual realm, I'll go back to verse 9. God said, already goeth thy soul thitherward, but it cannot take thy body with it. Thy corporal judgment cannot cope with spiritual things. As thought traveleth, so is it with the spirit of the dead. When thou hast quit thy corporal body, behold, thy spirit will be free. Whithersoever thou desirest to go, thou shalt go. Nevertheless, thou shalt go only as thought goeth. And when thou hast arrived at the place, thou shalt fashion from the surroundings thine own form, hands and arms and feet and legs perfectly. The gods build not only themselves, but plateaus for the inhabitation of millions and millions of other souls risen from the earth. Man said, alas me, why was I born in darkness? Why was I not created knowing all things from my youth up? Why did not the Creator send his angels with me every day to satisfy my craving for light from the Almighty? Cosmon answered, had thou not craved for light, thou had not been delighted to receive light. Had thou been created with knowledge, thou couldst not be an acquirer of knowledge. Had the Creator given thee angels to be forever given thee light, then they would be slaves. Liberty is the boon of men and angels. The desire for liberty causeth the soul of man to come out of darkness. Whoso feeleth that he hath no need of exertion groweth not in spirit. He hath no honor on the earth or in the heavens above. Wow. Let me read this again. So pretty much, he created us this way so we won't be lazy thinking everything gonna be given to us. Listen to this. This is a good Tiffany. Hey, girl. Look. Verse 17, page 468. Had the Creator given the angels to be forever given thee light, then they would be slaves. Liberty is the boon, B-O-O-N, of men and angels. The desire for liberty causeth the soul of man to come out of darkness. Whoso feeleth that he hath no need of exertion groweth not in spirit. He hath no honor on the earth or in the heavens above. He hath no honor on the earth or in the heavens thereof. Yes, baby. Your nose. What's wrong with your nose? Let me see.
My nose.
What's wrong? I don't see anything wrong with your nose. Did you hit your nose?
No.
Well, what's wrong with it?
It's hot.
It's hot.
No, hot.
You what?
It's hot in it.
It's hot in it? Okay, so you need a piece of tissue? Go get a piece of tissue and cool your nose down, son. In the bathroom. My grandbaby. I think he meant he need to blow his nose, but it looked fine. It looked a little moist on the inside. He said it's hot on the inside. That's Jackson. He too. Okay, verse 19. Whoso feeleth that he hath no need of exertion groweth not in spirit. He hath no honor on the earth or in the heavens thereof. Man said, this is my comfort. Man nowadays is not so foolish as the ancients. They worship before idols of stone and wood. They built temples and pyramids so costly that they ruined themselves. Cephas said, O vain man, in the day thou abusest the ancients, thou sendest thy son to college and enforcest him to study the ancients. Thy standing armies hold the nations of the earth in misery, greater than did the temples and pyramids. And as for drunkenness and dissolute habits, and for selfishness, thou art worse than the ancients. God said, O man, turn thou from the dead past, learn from the ever-living present. What is thy wisdom for the raising up of the poor and the distressed, more than was that? Hold on. That's a question. Let me go back. I'm sorry, y'all. Verse 26. What is thy wisdom for the raising up of the poor and the distressed, more than was that of the ancients? That's still really wrong. But anyway, it was a question. Is it better for thee to hold up a book and say, behold, a most sacred and holy book, than for the ancients to say, behold, a sacred and holy temple? Cephas said, consider the established things in one age, one thing, in another age, another thing, to make man break away from all the past and live by the light of the ever-present. Is this not the wisest labor? Chapter 5. Jehovah said, in the time that I created life on the earth and in the waters and in the air above the earth, I brought the earth into hierarchy for 1,000 years. And the earth gave out light because of the darkness of the heavenly force whither I had brought her. Man said, to know the beginning of things, what greater delight than this? To know when the earth was made and how the living were created, the thousands of millions of kinds of species. God said, was not this answered unto thee according to the light that man was capable of receiving? So was he answered. Man inquired, but why was not the truth told? Why the 6 days, and why the rib? God said, that which man can accept and is good for him is given unto him. That which man cannot comprehend cannot be revealed to him. That's good. I like that. Verse 7, I read again. Man inquired, but why was not the truth told? Why the 6 days, and why the rib? God said, that which man can accept and is good for him is given unto him. That which man cannot comprehend cannot be revealed to him. Behold, even now, as hath been shown, thou usest false symbols to illustrate the number 10. Why wouldest thou make man worship angels because they took on forms by his side? Then thou wouldest lose influence over him, and the angels would be his guides. All teachings shall be to make man comprehend the Almighty's dominion upon man. Symbols and images that do this are true lights, though false in act. Man said, how shall man find light, knowledge, wisdom, truth? Is there no all teacher? Learning is void because Learning is void because based on false grounds. The senses are void because they themselves are perishable and imperfect. These are questions. The insane man knoweth not his insanity. May not any man be also insane and not know it, and know it not? Where shall man find a true standing point to judge from? Uz said, all thou seest and hearest, O man, are but transient and delusive. Even thine own corporal senses change every day. Today thou triest to raise up thy son in a certain way, but when thou art old, thou wilt say, alas, I taught him differently from what I would now. Man inquired, is this not then the best course, to devote thyself wholly to doing good? S answered, who shall tell thee what doing good is? Knowest thou? Man said, to prove the best of everything for my wife and for my sons and daughters, and to contribute to the poor. S said, hadst thou created man, thou hadst given him hair or feathers and a cushion for his head. Bethink thee then, give thou one thing too much to thy wife and sons and daughters, thereby preventing the calling out of their own talents, and alas, thy works will be bad instead of good. That's good. Let me read that again. So you doing, just like it said the other day, right? Hold on. Let me read the exact words. It was right at the top when my husband came in. Hold on. I think I highlighted it. Is it Archibald? Oh, there it is. I did a highlight on page 465. The losses and crosses. It said in chapter 3, verse 2, Uz said, vain man, thou understandest not the creations. Thy trials, thy losses and crosses have built up thy soul, to provide thy son that he shall have no trials, nor losses, nor crosses, will not be good for him. This will not be goodness. Give him experience, right? So your children got to go through things. You can't be their savior for everything. You can't rescue them for everything, because they're going to end up being worthless, not being able to do anything for themselves. Let me go back. Verse 22, page 468. S said, had thou created man, thou hadst given him hair or feathers and a cushion for his head. Bethink thee then, give thou one thing too much to thy wife and thy sons and daughters, thereby preventing the calling out of their own talents, and alas, thy works will be bad instead of good. So you giving everything good to them all the time. You making them lazy because they're not able to develop their own gifts and talents, and those things. You're not going to be able to call it out. You're not going to see it because you're going to bury it in all your goodness that you're lavishing upon them. Pull back a little bit. Let their critical thinking and juices start flowing so they can figure out what they can really do, right? And then your good won't be spoken of as bad. Although at that moment it was good and they loved it. They loved you for it, right? But you crippled them. You enabled them to be worthless. We had to learn that. We got to stop giving so much. Teach them how to work. S said, hadst thou created man, thou hadst given him hair or feathers and a cushion for his head? That was a question. Bethink thee then, give thou one thing too much to thy wife and sons and daughters, thereby preventing the calling out of their own talents, and alas, thy works will be bad instead of good. Contribute to the poor one fraction too much, and thou injurest instead of doing good. Give him one fraction too little, and thou shalt rebuke thyself. Man inquired, what then are good works? Shall I preach and pray for others? God said, man, thou shalt judge thyself as to what thou shalt do. Within every man's soul, Jehovah hath provided a judge that will soon or late become triumphant in power. Man said, hear me, I am tired of reason and argument. Now will I covenant with Jehovah. He only shall answer me. He will give me life. I'm sick of talking to y'all. Now, hold on. Verse 29. Man said, hear me, I am tired of reason and argument. Now will I covenant with Jehovah. He only shall answer me. He will give me light. To thee, O Jehovah, I commit myself to be thine forever. To serve thee by doing nothing for my own selfish ends, but by doing the best I can for others for all my days. My flesh body will I baptize every day in remembrance of thee, for my body is thine, and I will keep it clean and pure before thee. Neither will I suffer my spiritual body to be injured by wicked thoughts or passions of lust, for my spirit is thy gift to me also. Twice every day shall my spirit body be covenant to thee, in which times all earthly thoughts shall depart away from me. And whatsoever light thou bestowest upon me, that shall be a guide and ruler over me for the day thereof. In the morning at sunrise will I turn to thee, that I may be spurred up to swiftness in doing good and in manifesting thy light in my behavior. And at night, before I sleep, I will recount my day's labor, that I may see wherein I was short in doing with all my wisdom and strength. Thou, O Jehovah, shall be my confessor and advisor. To thee will I give praise. And after praise is reference number 1. Y'all don't start. Y'all, no, go upstairs.
Please?
Wait, go upstairs.
Please, Mommy, we
No,
play
here.
out there.
Yeah, in a little while. Wait till I'm done.
No.
Or go upstairs. You won't go out there at all. In verse 37, after praise is reference number 1, and reference number 1 at the bottom it says, to thee will I give praise without ceasing, my prayers and my anthems to thee. Okay, now start the verse over, verse 37, page 469. Thou, O Jehovah, shall be my confessor and advisor. To thee will I give praise, and my anthems to thee shall be without number. This do I perceive is the highest of all aspiration. For what better is it for God or the spirits of the dead to tell me a thing than for mortals to tell me? Is not all wisdom necessary to be proven within each and every man? Is it not better that my vision reach up to heaven and see it myself than to be told of it by the angels? It is wiser for mortals to become pure as angels than for angels to become impure as mortals. Nay, I will not drag the spirits of the higher heavens down to the earth. If they came and told me, it would be but hearsay, testimony at best. If they came and told me, it would be but heresy, testimony at best. No, not heresy. It's hearsay. Yeah, I think I said it right the first time. One more time. It is wiser for mortals to become pure as. Hold on, y'all. y'all see how extra loud it is on my grandbabies over here? I'm sorry. Dana! Hey, girl, hey. Look, okay. Verse 38, page 469. Yeah, 38. For what better is it for God or the spirits of the dead to tell me a thing than for mortals to tell me? Is not all wisdom necessary to be proven within each and every man? Is it not better that my vision reach up to heaven and see it myself than to be told of it by the angels? It is wiser for mortals to become pure as angels than for angels to become impure as mortals. Nay, I will not drag the spirits of the higher heavens down to the earth. If they came and told me, it would be but hearsay, testimony at best. I will commune with them and weigh their words as to whether they be wise and adapted to founding thy kingdom on earth. Am I not done, O Jehovah? Thou hast sealed up thy kingdoms from me. Henceforth I will neither preach nor hear preaching, only to labor and to do good and be in peace within my own soul and with my neighbors and to glorify thee. I will do no more. I will do no more, nor will I multiply words with anyone under the sun. All right. Chapter 6, page 469. God said, I declare in the name of Jehovah the whole. Through him and by his hand have I been lifted up. Hear me, O mortals. Give ear, O ye spirits of the dead. The Father hath spoken. Him do I reveal. In him bestow the tree of life. I was in darkness, but am now in light. His presence is upon me. Hearken then to my words and be wise in yourselves. Seek not to disprove him. Seek not to prove that these things cannot be. Seek not to deny his person, nor his spirit. Of such was my bondage. In bitterness of heart was I bound in darkness. Those who deny, those who try to disprove him are in darkness. He is the same today and forever. The prophets of old found him, so also can ye. But he cometh not to the denier, nor to the disprover. He who will find his person must look for him. He who will hear his voice must hearken. Then cometh light. All argument is void. There is more wisdom in the song of a bird than in the speech of a philosopher. The first speaketh to the Almighty, proclaiming his glory. The second plotteth in darkness. By my hand were the ancients' libraries burnt, to draw man away from darkness. Cosmon said, what hath great learning found that is valuable? Shall learning, like riches, be acquired for one's own selfish gratification? If a rich man with his hoarded wealth, if a rich man with his hoarded wealth do little for the resurrection of man, if a rich man with his hoarded wealth do little for the resurrection of man, how much less doth the learned man with a head full of knowledge? What are you doing to her? Hey. Y'all, go back up. Go back upstairs. Everybody, all four of y'all, go. You too, little girl. Take her up. Sorry, y'all.
I need a bigger cup.
That's fine. Use that for now.
Don't take
Hold on, y'all.
Don't take
You're only 30 minutes in.
You put on some clothes. Get your dog. You can play with that. Go in there with that. Tell Elijah to put some on her. It's cold up there. Bye, girl. Shall learning, like riches, be acquired for one's own selfish gratification? Verse 10, page 469. If a rich man with his hoarded wealth do little for the resurrection of man, how much less doth the learned man with the head full of knowledge? If neither feedeth nor clotheth the sick and distressed, nor stayeth the debauchery and drunkenness of the great multitude, how shall we class the man of exact science? And after exact science is reference letter A. This is the first reference, so let's find the end of the book of Ben. Page 484. And reference letter A says, hold on. How shall we classify the man of exact science? Where shall we find him? How shall we know that he will not be disproved in the time to come? So now that we read the whole verse, let's go back here on page 484. Reference letter A says, in the right hands, science can be a wonderful thing. The scientific method, without a doubt, has helped transform the world in many positive ways. It has advanced the well-being of humanity through improved sanitation, agriculture, innovations, new materials for clothing and housing, global communications, and the ability to visit the moon and beyond. The list is endless. Yet, what was the source of ideas behind the science? Here one confronts its one limitation. What science investigates must have length, breadth, and thickness. It must be corporal. Science can never prove nor disprove spirit, and as far as it is concerned, spirit does not exist, and life is just a biochemical soup. But to those whose spiritual senses are in the ascendancy, however, the reality of spirit is undeniable, right? The spirit is completely undeniable to us, especially those of us who have all these things happening to us spiritually that even science can't explain. They just lump it together and give it some long medical term and say, this is a disease. No, you're suffering from this. No, that's not a thing. It's all in your head. You're imagining this. Science can never prove nor disprove spirit. And as far as it is concerned, spirit does not exist and life is just a biochemical soup. But to those whose spiritual senses are in the ascendancy, however, the reality of spirit is undeniable because even science cannot erase what one has experienced firsthand. These are the ones who touch the truth and know that I am. Ooh, that was good. Okay. Verse 11, back to page 469. How shall we class the man of science? Where shall we find him? How shall we know that he will not be disproved in time to come? Yesterday it was said, a man cannot fast 40 days and live. Today it is proven possible. Yesterday it was said, there is attraction of gravitation betwixt the sun and the earth. Today it is proven there is no such thing. That no man can see without eyes or hear without ears ensues clairvoyance and clairaudience. Today, hundreds of thousands know it to be so. We clearly know it to be so. We can hear and we can see things in the spirit, far and near, right? Past and future. We can hear. I told y'all this story about when Jeremiah lost his 2 front teeth on the bus, right? This was quite a few months ago. My house was about a block away from the bus stop around the corner, right? So the day this particular bus was late, and Jeremiah, I think Jeremiah was like 9 to 10 at the time, right? 9 to 10. His bus was late. The bus is never late. And so I called the school transportation. They said, oh, what's the bus number? I gave it to them. They said, oh, it was an incident on the bus, but they are back on track and they should be en route. They should be there shortly. I'm like, okay. Me not thinking that the bus incident was with my child, right? So the bus shows up. By the time I got, I actually went and stood on the porch. And I was going to wait a couple minutes. Then I was going to walk down there. But when I stood back on the porch, I saw Jeremiah and one of the little boys that live in the neighborhood turning the corner. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Right? So now, in all human logic, Now, mind you, these children were just walking. Man, you walking beside your friend and y'all talking normally. You don't normally scream and holler when you're talking to your friend who's literally standing right next to you. This is how Jeremiah and the other little kid was walking. They was walking. It's like, get off the bus, whatever. Walking, and they were talking and having a conversation amongst themselves. I heard their conversation from almost a block away. And I heard the little boy say to my son, "You gonna tell your mom what happened?" And Jeremiah said, "I don't know." Right? So I'm like, first of all, how did I hear that? And so they got close. As they got close, and he was about to walk up on the stairs, I walked down. I said, what do you have to tell me what happened on the bus? And both of them just looked. And Jeremiah said, and he did just like that. And his 2 front teeth were missing. Mind you, his 2 front teeth were not loose. Second of all, why did I have to call transportation to find out that there was an incident on the bus that involved my son and nobody called me? Right? I have a cell phone. No, we were still using a pay phone from time to time, but there was a house phone. I had a house phone. My phone didn't ring. So what happened, make a long story short, they were on the bus, little girl sitting in a seat in front of him. They were playing. They said Jeremiah was messing with the little girl, pulling on her book bag strap, right? And wouldn't let it go. And he took it and put it in his mouth. And so the little girl told him to quit. And I know my son at that age, Jeremiah, everything they said about him was probably true, right? He was a little pest. So it was probably, I'm certain it was true, simply because he lost his 2 teeth. The girl told him to stop. He didn't stop. You know how you tighten up the book bag and got this little part hanging down? That part he took and put in his mouth. The little girl, you get that stuff out your mouth. She snatched her arm with her book bag, which was clearly tightly on her back. Like, son, what were you thinking? Why would you put her book bag strap in your mouth? But when she yanked it, and this girl must have been lifting weights. She was no older than Jeremiah. But the force she snatched that book bag, you know how it got the little lip, okay, the little string. If you got kids, you got a book bag. If you didn't have a book bag, you know how the strap, it's not just a little string hanging. It's like a little folded and sewed over, so it's like a little clip. Just in case it extended, the string won't completely come out the little plastic thing. That part he put in his mouth. Clearly, it had been turned around to where we're going to secure it on right there. If it come right there, put it in his mouth. The girl yanked the book bag. When she yanked it, his 2 front teeth popped clean out his head. Y'all, when I saw his mouth, I went off. The bus had already pulled away. I called transportation. Why ain't nobody call me and tell me that my son lost his teeth on the blood was on his shirt? And I didn't notice the blood splat until after I had calmed down. Because I wasn't looking at his shirt, I heard the boy's voice from all the way a block away. And I'm just like, I'm curious what happened now, because I clearly knew there was something that happened on the bus. Transportation already told me that, but they didn't tell me what happened. It was a little blood splatter up here, and it was dry blood around his mouth. The bus driver cleaned it up as best she could or whatever, right? So that was, I didn't plan on telling y'all that story, but clearly I've experienced not only clear vision or seeing into the future, spiritually can see things far away, had a little vision. I've seen that so Raven. That stuff be happening to me like that sometimes where I can see things. But sometimes if you watch that, Raven's visions, they be skewed sometimes. But anyway, that happens to me. And I heard him, right? I heard him and the little boy. And that's what I was, because I was used to it by this time. And Jeremiah, he's 19 today. So that was like 10 years ago. That happens to me all the time. So I was used to it. So I'm curious, okay, what happened on the bus today, right? And he didn't say nothing. He just did like that. And his teeth was gone. Blessed be the most holy. It didn't do any permanent damage, right? It didn't do any permanent damage. He got his teeth, and they grew back in. They probably started growing in about a month later, right? About a month later. But he didn't have any kind of complications from that incident. So the way she snatched it, it just clean popped him out. And it just left room and space for the adult teeth to come in. And so he hasn't had any problem. Blessed be the most holy for that, right? So, but yeah, let's get back to this, yo. Look, I was upset with that school system, although it wasn't their fault, right? They just trying to clean up the mess of the kids, then, you know. So, but I bet you Jeremiah ain't put nobody else's book bag strap in his mouth. I think he pretty much left people alone after that. Yeah, but he was he was one of my more extreme children. Okay, verse 13. I'm gonna read again. Page 469. Jace, go count upstairs. You and Bella. Bye. Yesterday it was said, there is attraction of gravitation betwixt the sun and the earth. Today it is proven that there is no such thing, that no man can see without eyes or hear without ears, ensues clairaudience and clairvoyance. Today hundreds of thousands know it to be so. Yesterday it was said that thou shalt eat flesh and oil, because they supply certain things for the blood, without which man cannot live. Today it is proven otherwise. Yesterday the physician said, take thou this and it will heal thee. Today the same thing is proven to have no virtue. This only is proven, that man is vain and conceited, desiring to make others believe he is wise when he is not. What healed the sick yesterday will not tomorrow. Philosophy that was good yesterday is folly today. Religions that were good for the ancients are worthless today. Crime and pauperism grow up in the heart of them, even worse than in the regions of the earth where they are not preached. The physicians have not lessened the amount of sickness on the earth. The lawyers have not lessened the rascality of the wicked, or depleted the number of defrauders. The march of Jehovah and his peoples is onward. It is like a tree of light, forever growing, but man heedeth not the growth. Man bindeth his judgment by things that are past. He will not quicken himself to see and understand the all light. And so that is the end of chapter 6. And I'm going to show y'all these pictures right here. It has plate 29, 30, and 31. So plate 29 is hierarchy or nebula. Right here. Plate 30 is Geniquin Swamp in Ethera. It almost looked like a turtle from this viewpoint. A turtle shell to me. Okay, this one over here is plate 31. I'm going to show it to you, then I'm going to read it. And I'll take pictures of these and post them in the community section. Here. Okay. So plate 31, Loisac says, the position of the earth that led to the building of the Chinese wall. It came to pass in those days that the spirit of the Father dwelt in mortals, and they were turned away from the shedding of blood. And when the earth came into Loisac in Ethera, his Etherian angels penetrated the darkness and inspired the chosen of China to build a wall to protect themselves from destruction. And a wall was so built, the greatest on the whole earth. Jehovah said, since these, my chosen people, have achieved the age of peace on earth, let them shut themselves in, away from the barbarians without, and they shall endure as a secluded people till the coming of Cosmon. And it was so. Right, and we can clearly tell that the wall has been broken down, right? Okay, so chapter 7, page 471. Esphoma said, I am the signs of the times. I gotta go back. What did it say Esphoma was? Go back to mine. Esphoma. Oh, that's the sign that was like the right angle with the arrow going this way and the one going this way. The other day when I read all the signs. Esphoma or esphoma said, equivalent to there is something in the wind, or as things seem to indicate, signs of the times. Okay. Oh, yeah, clearly that's what it say right here. Esphoma said, I am the signs of the times. We're at chapter 7, verse 1, page 471. As Foma said, I am the signs of the times. By my face, the prophets foretell what is to be. I am the living mathematics, the unseen progress of things speaking to the senses of man. My name is the signs of the times. Why have ye, the inhabitants of the earth, and ye angels of the heavens, not beholden me in my march? I called out in the days of the pyramids, O ye kings and mighty ones, behold the signs of the times. And ye men of great learning, give ear. A voice speaketh in the wind. Behold, Osiris and Isis shall go down. Anubi shall not judge the people of the Almighty. I sent a storm into colleges of learning. The wise professors held up their heads and said, I doubt the person of Osiris. I doubt Osiris. Are they merely a principle? The prophets looked here and looked there. They said, behold, the signs of the times. Let us measure the increase in the growth of skepticism to these ancient gods. They said, Osiris shall go down, and so shall Isis and Anubi and Baal and Ashtaroth and Thomas. But kings heard not. They called their councils for stern legislation. They saw, but denied my person and the power of my hand. Man calleth out, give me a key for prophecy. Show me the way to find the destiny of gods and angels and mortals. Show me the key for the rise and fall of nations and empires. Then I will come forth over all the land. Man beginneth to doubt, then to disbelieve, and then to deny the popular gods and saviors of his forefathers. They will not see which way the wind bloweth. With strong arms and bloody hands, they will rise up against Jehovah. Then they go down in destruction. They and their gods are known no more. Jehovah hath said, all things are like a tree, which springeth up from a little seed to become mighty, which beareth fruit for a season, and then falleth and is turned to dust. One by one, my gods and my false gods rise up and are powerful for a season, and then are swept away in a Ephoma's hands. Behold, my thousands of saviors, which I have sent to raise up the inhabitants of the earth, where are they this day? I give to mortals, gods and lords and saviors, according to the time and place of the earth and my Ethereal heavens, so bestow I them. But when they have fulfilled their time, lo, I take away their gods and lords and saviors, not suddenly, nor without signs of the times of their going. Okay, so plate 32, it hasn't referred to this yet. But I'll still show it. I'm sure when we get to it where we need to look at it, it'll say go to plate 32, right? And plate 33. But this is like the math portion of this. So I'm going to show it to you. Y'all take a gander at it. All right? I ain't going to try and explain it, but I'm going to just read what's under and we're going to keep going, okay? We'll let the mathematicians that understand this explain these to you when they do their videos. And I'm going to be tuning right in. So right here, right? That is, and I'll take a picture of these. This is plate 32, and it says the serpent. Okay, so right here, the serpent, all right? Oh, I probably should have held it up a little bit longer so you can see. Okay, and the serpent is referring to the planets in their alignment. So if you was to connect them together, like connecting the dots, it would make a serpent, right? So I'm gonna show it to you again. Look, and it's numbers in here. If you don't have it, you'll be able to see it better when I take a picture of it, right? Okay, so hold on, see if both of y'all can see it. Oh. All right, so hold on, YouTube. Okay, so Facebook right here. So starting over here, this is, you see 1, 2, 3, all the way around. You see how it's numbered and they connect the dots and it looks like a serpent. That's why it's called the serpent. Okay, YouTube. Hold on. Y'all sorry. I don't know how to bring the stuff up on the screen and flash it to you, but I gotta hold up the book. Okay, so right here you see it. This is where it starts in number 1, 2, 3, and all the way around, numbering the planets. And when they connect the dots, it looks like a serpent, right? So that's why they call it the Great Serpent. Okay. Let me read it. Plate 32, serpent. Number 1 is sun, 2, Mercury, 3, Earth, 4, Mars, 5, Artea, 6, Vesta, 7, Ceres, 8, Jupiter, 9, Saturn, 10, Uranus, equivalent. What? Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so I'm gonna just read what it says equivalent. I ain't figured it out yet. Equivalent: Ku, 28, Sali, 44, Pisc, P-I-S-C, 22, Hu, 85, Fragaball, 114, Atbars, 8, Gis Samak, 198. I ain't gonna try to explain that. Okay, so plate 33, prophetic numbers, and it has B. Okay, so we're gonna go to B. Let me show you this picture first. Okay. This plate right here. I'm gonna show Facebook first. You see it. And I'll take a picture so you can get a clearer picture and you can kind of study it a little bit if you don't have the book. All right, YouTube. And it says prophetic numbers, B. So I'm gonna read prophetic numbers. I'm gonna read the numbers, then I'll read B. Equivalents. Arjaon, 49, Kavi, 7, for Asha, 76, for Ranraka, 84, Yakna, 13, Huit, 64, velocity, 3,072 point, hold on. No, velocity equals 3,072. 7 equals 8,021. Hey, babe. 7 equals 4,716. 76 equals, okay, babe. 76 equals 1,085. 84 equals 12,008. 13 equals 6,047. 64 equals 18,765. Okay. Duration, Hewitt, 2,780 years for the Earth. For Ranraka, 3,142 years. Example, to find population and atmosphere belonging to the Earth in Hewitt, 33 years, equals 788,000 times 2,780 divided by 3, subtract 100 equals 83. 1 Is it 1 minus 33 or 1 minus or 1 dash 33? 1 minus 33. X equals. All right, babe. This is why I was not a math teacher and I get help for my kids in the math. Listen. X equals, hold on, is this million? Ones, tens, hundreds, no. I'm about to just say the numbers individually with the commas. Hold on. 100,000, million. I think it's billion. 65 billion, 666,333,333. I probably got ahead of myself. That's 1 in 3 souls, or 1-3 souls. Okay, let's go to B. Prophetic numbers. Forgive me if I completely screwed that up. Somebody that'll be able to explain that better is Selah Shalom TV. Make sure you tune into his channel, subscribe to him, and Cosmon. Don't do me, y'all, because I told y'all I'm not a math whiz. I'm trying to figure it out. Look, okay. Page 484, B, plate 33. Prophetic numbers. We believe that 7 equals 8,021 should have been 49 equals 8,021, representing Argion, and the second 7 equals 4,716 represents Kabi. We believe that the example for Hewitt is not a mathematical equation, but a train of logic. Actually, it appears that 1 minus 33x represents the variation for the increase in population in the 33 years for a generation, and that the 1 to 3 souls at the end of the example represents the increase in population during a generation, i.e., 1 represents the population at the beginning of a generation of 33 years, 2 represents the midpoint of 33 years, and 3 represents the increase in population at the end of a generation of 33 years. It should be noted that the number, hold on, it's the same number again. Did I say it right? Let's see, hold on. Million, 100,000, that's probably billion. Billion, million, 100, listen. It should be noted that the number 65, 666, 33, 3333 divided by 788 million equals 83.3. This commentary is directed at, clearly, this commentary is directed at the advanced student. Look, I just walked into class and you got me reading these numbers. Hold on. Let me highlight this. This commentary is directed at the advanced student. One need not understand this academic point to understand OAHSPE. Okay, let's go back. It's got me sweating under my arms. Okay, Taz, Shalom, Global Purpose, Peace. I say hey to Stephen. Stephen, Shalom, Shalom. You know what? That's why I didn't fool with math. Just give me the answers. Look, whew, boy, I feel like I need to be put in remedial. I do on some stuff. I ain't even gonna lie. All right. Okay. Let's go back here. I mean, I'm a little slow, but you know, at least I'm gonna ask for help. Okay, y'all. So chapter 8, page 472. Okay. The battle with the beast of the Ark of Bond. S said, the light of Jehovah touched on the earth, and the heavens. Yes. Yes. S said, the light of Jehovah touched on the earth, and the heavens about were stirred to the foundation. Things past were moved forward. His voice was from the depth of darkness to the summit of all light. Nations that had not known him now knew him. Acceptable and with loud rejoicings, they shouted, Jehovah, Jehovah, almighty and everlasting, glory to thee on high, Creator, Father, all praise to thee forever. Oh, hold on. Okay, so between, it's a whole page with 2 other. So maybe I should. Okay. Hold on. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna make a mark for this to come back and show these, but let me finish reading this paragraph. Come back here. Okay. Okay. Glory be to thee on high, Creator, Father, all praise to thee forever. And so go over to page 476, verse 3. And Jehovah went far and near swiftly, quickening with a new power both the living and the dead. And the peoples rose up and heard his voice from every corner, calling, come forth, O my beloved. And in the stirring up of things long past, it was as if a cloud of dust and darkness, foul and poisonous, overspreading heaven and earth, was to be cleared away and make room for other gods and saviors. High above the clouds and deep down in all the blackness, the all light shone as the everlasting sun. The faith of men and angels rose up in unceasing assurance to the Most High, that he, in matchless majesty alone, would rise triumphant over all. Jehovah said, bring forth the legions of earth and heaven. Summon up the dead. Let the living rejoice. My kingdom is at hand. And the dead came forth, clothed in raiment of heaven, and they walked upon the earth, yea, face to face, talked with the living, proclaiming the fullness of Jehovah and his everlasting kingdoms. Little infants that were long dead, hey, chill in there. Little infants that were long dead returned to the living, full grown in heaven, singing in Jehovah's praise. Mothers returned from the unseen world with love and angel kisses for their mortal babes and sorrow-stricken husbands. Then rose the clouds of darkness higher and higher, the poisonous smell and damnable tricks of... Hold on, y'all. Look, girl, you go. I'm here. Bella, y'all need to stop screaming.
We'll be back after this quick ad.
Be quiet, y'all.
She's coming back now.
Bella, don't be a tattletale.
Now she's back.
Thank you for keeping them company while I walked away. Let's see. Little infants, verse 8, page 476. Little infants that were long dead returned to the living, full grown in heaven, singing in Jehovah's praise. Mothers returned from the unseen world with love and angel kisses for their mortal babes and sorrow-stricken husbands. Then rose the cloud of darkness, higher and higher. The poisonous smell of damnable tricks of Hada belched forth in blackness terrible. The spirits of those slain in war, delirious, mad, and full of vengeance, and those whose earth lives had been bound, and those whose earth lives had bound them in torments, and those who lived on earth to glut themselves to the full in aberrant lust, came assuming the names of gods and saviors. And yet the voice of Jehovah called, bring forth the legions of earth and heaven. Summon up the dead. Let the living rejoice. My chosen shall come forth. .478. Still struggled the beast. Hold on. Yeah. Still struggled the beast, awful in the smoke and dust of his blood-stained mantle, till the earth around became as a solemn night before a battle of death. Why do you keep slamming that? Boy, don't open it. Sorry. Verse 11. Still struggled the beast, awful in the smoke and dust of his blood-stained mantle, till the earth around became as a solemn night before a battle of death, battling bones and empty skulls with gnashing teeth, all stained with human gore, made hideous by the portentous omen, caused angels and men to stand appalled. And then, as the cloud of darkness stretched up out of the earth, girdling it all around as a venomous reptile, secureth his living food, lo and behold, the monster beast stretched forth 4 heads with flaming nostrils, all on fire. Why are y'all coming in here?
We're trying to paint. What? Don't even paint. We can't paint.
How about y'all hold off on that for a few minutes? Get out of here. Go. Yeah, hold off. Hold off on it. Get out. You too, Bella. You too, little baby. Little light skin. Get out of here. You get some in a minute. Baby doll, go. Let me see this. We'll do this when I'm done.
Mom.
Because y'all gonna try and, knock on my table. Go on through there.
Mommy, you just want to back?
No. In a minute. Go.
No.
Hold on, y'all. You go upstairs. And Go in your room. I told you about them out. She be trying my gangster when I'm live, y'all. Like I'm gonna pop her butt. So, don't call me.
Someone's trying to blind me.
Let me hurry up and finish this.
Just ignore everything in the background.
Thank you, Isaiah. Verse 12. Verse 12, page 478. And then, as the clouds of darkness stretched up out of the earth, girdling it all around as a venomous reptile secureth his living food, lo and behold, the monster beast stretched forth 4 heads with flaming nostrils, all on fire. On each head were 2 horns, blood-stained and fresh, with human victims' flesh macerated. Their tongues darted forth in menace, and their open mouths watered for human souls, and with suspicion mad, and much distrusted, their bloodshot eyes pierced the temples of kings and laid them in ruins. And the names of the beasts, now falsely named, And the names of the beasts, now falsely assumed to beguile Jehovah's chosen, were Dias, Lord God, Osiris, Tan, and their horns were named, one righteous and the other militant. With their 4 bloody mouths, they called out of the fires of hell, down, Jehovah, down. I alone am Savior of mortals and angels. I will be their favorite God or ruin of all. Jehovah answered to his faithful sons and daughters, the living and the dead. Bring forth the legions of earth and heaven. Summon up the dead. Let the living rejoice. My kingdom is at hand. My chosen shall be free. The beast, rattling his hideous bones, baited some of his breath to see the great... Hey, y'all, chill. The beast, rattling his hideous bones, baited some of his breath to see the great awakening light of the tree of Jehovah. And as the beast looked along, behold, his 4 heads saw one another and burst forth in a new tirade of horrid curses. I'm sorry. Y'all, I want to finish this. Hold on. Jace, Jackson, and Baby Doll. Donna and Jace, go upstairs. Y'all sleep. Y'all play your dad. Let's go. Go upstairs. Come on. I had to go lock the tiny ones in the room, but they did. This is too much. Okay. All right, y'all. Let me go back to 17. The beast, rattling his hideous bones, baited some of his breath to see the great awakening light of the tree of Jehovah. And as the beast looked along, behold, his 4 heads saw one another and burst forth into a new tirade of horrid curses, each to know the other's bold presumption. First spake Anusahaj, the false Lord God, to the east. Behold thou, Hojos, thou bloody Tan, God of Hada, thy heavenly kingdom shall down. Know thou that I, the Lord God, am God of all. It was I, drove the great spirit from earth and heaven, and made the name Lord God worshipful in the broad universe. The false Tan, mocking, said, and thou wilt bury it in the depths of hell, thou of woman born. Hop to page 22, verse 22 on page 481. Upward rose the head of the beast, the false Lord God, and with his mighty arm and sword swept off the false Tan's head. And as the beast surged about, Dias the false sprang forward, shouting, Hold, thou false Lord God, never shall thy name be honored on China's soil or in her heavens. Behold me, I am Dias. Ashtaroth, greedy goddess, now urged her consort god, Baal, to rush in for the heavenly spoils. And the twain, in the terrible tumult, drew hence 10,000 million angel slaves. Anusahaj said to Dais, Thou miscreant god, that dared steal my name, Dias, and now confront me with thy hellish taunts, down, down. At that, their bloody swords clashed, and Dias thrust his adversary through, even as the false Lord God's sword clipped off Dias's traitorous head. Meanwhile, Osiris, the dragon head, started up from the punctured body of the beast, shouting, Behold me, I am all. I, Osiris, Savior of men, Lord God of heaven and earth, Dias, Dias, all. By my sword I am sworn. Ashtaroth, cunning goddess, flew suddenly down to the earth, to the mortal king of Egypt, Pharaoh, and through the oracle proclaimed, There is war in heaven. Osiris, thriftiest of gods, hath won the victory, and standeth master of all the heavens' broad kingdom. To the earth he shall come no more. Proclaim thyself the Savior's vice regent on the earth, and the king of the world. Then Pharaoh, distracted by the flood of miracles and the superabundance of the spirits of the dead strolling all over Egypt, embraced the oracle's fearful decrees. And now, behold, whilst the beasts struggle in the four quarters of the world, Jehovah's chosen, both on earth and in heaven, marched out of bondage, singing glory to the Creator's name. This was cool how they put all this together. So all this stuff happening in the heavens while on earth, you got a simultaneous slew of things happening as well. So while the war is going on and they distracted, fighting one another, y'all's chosen is set free and march right out of Egypt. Listen, let me go back. Verse 27. Ashtaroth, cunning goddess, flew suddenly down to the earth, to the mortal king of Egypt, Pharaoh, and through the oracle proclaimed, There is war in heaven. Osiris, thriftiest of gods, hath won the victory, and standeth master of all the heavens' broad kingdoms. To the earth he shall come no more. Proclaim thyself the Savior's vice regent on the earth, and the king of the world. Then Pharaoh, distracted by the flood of miracles and the superabundance of the spirits of the dead, strolling all over Egypt, embraced the oracle's fearful decrees. And now, behold, whilst the beasts struggle in the four quarters of the world, Jehovah's chosen, both on earth and in heaven, march out of bondage, singing glory to the Creator's name. And now, Osiris, the chief remaining head of the beast, turned from the anarchy and hells and Hada to vent his hatred against Jehovah's chosen on the earth, and with Baal and Ashtaroth, invented new tortures for the non-flesh-eating tribes of men. But Jehovah's light broke across the world. The smoke and clouds from the battle cleared away. Osiris fled from the earth. Another group of false gods had cleared away before Jehovah's light. And that is the end of chapter 8. So let me go back. Put this marker here. And let me go back and show y'all the Earth and Sea Moon. You know what? Savoricum. I'm gonna show them to y'all, but I'm almost certain. I'm 100% certain when we're supposed to come back and look at this, it's gonna give us the reference number like it tells us. Go see or see plate 38. Since I said I was gonna show it, I'm gonna go ahead and show it to y'all. Right? I'm gonna take a picture. So I'm gonna have a couple posts. One post in the community section only allowed me to upload 5 pictures. So because it's a lot of them, there's gonna probably be 3 posts in the community section with like 15 different pictures overall.
Mom, okay. Zay and Jess go in the closet together.
Okay. I told them to sit down. Tell them to quit playing in my closet. Okay. Plate 34, the Earth and Sea Moon. Okay, so this one right here. Tell Jace to come back down here too. Tell them all go in there with their daddy until I'm done. Okay, so this one right here, I'm gonna hold it up for YouTube. Okay. So plate 34, the Earth and Sea Moon. Jehovah said, in the time of Sea Moon, I brought the earth into Aji and Ga, and darkness was upon the face of the earth for the space of 3,000 years. And yet for other 3,000 years, half darkness covered all the land and water. Behold, O man, as I have given to females a time to bring forth their young, so gave I the earth a time for the conception of the living species in the land, in the water, and in the air above, and I called the time of the era of Sea Moon. And it came to pass, when the earth was in the midst of Tazah, there fell upon the earth a space equal to 12 days, condensed nebula and dust and stones and water combined, sufficient in some places to cover up forests Jehovah had made. And that which fell was hot like molten iron, and the trees and forests and of valleys were beaten down and covered up and burnt to blackness. Jehovah said, and these shall remain on the earth, for in the time that followeth, man shall seek the coal, not knowing whence it came, and it will bear witness of the regions of Aji and Ga in the firmament of heaven. See Book of Jehovah and Book of Sapphire. Okay, so the next one is plate 35, anode, and it has reference letter C. So let me show this to you first. Plate 35. This is plate 35. Facebook. Linda, hey girl, hey. Plate 35. Okay. So it says reference letter C. So we'll go hop over to C. Plate 35. Anode. Numbers 1 to 10 in plate 35 represent the planets, with number 1 being the sun. The number of planets, however, seem to vary in different plates of OAHSPE. See plates 32, 37, and 43. 43. I think we're going to get to it. Okay, so we go to the next plate. Plate 36 is the serpent's orbit. 1 equals equivalent 4,700,000. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Other orbits for other phalanxes. Okay. No, take her back, Bella. You better stop being hard-headed. I told her to stand there with her daddy until I'm done. And tell Jace I said come down here too. Right here. Okay. So plate 37, Shamael. Let me show you this one, then I'll read it. Plate 37. Plate 37. Okay. And Shamael says, the prophet of Jehovah said, a time shall come when the earth shall travel in the roadway of the firmament, and so great a light will be therein that the vortex of the earth shall burst, even as a whirlwind bursteth. And lo and behold, the whole earth shall be scattered and gone, as if nothing had been. But ere the time cometh, my ethereal host shall have redeemed man from sin, nor shall the inhabitants of the earth marry, for the time of begetting it will be at an end. Even as certain species of animals have failed to propagate and have become extinct, so shall be with man. The earth will have fulfilled its labor, and its services will be no more under the sun. But the vortex of the sun shall be round, and the body of the great serpent coiled up. In the place where the earth was, shall some of my far-off worlds come and fulfill the labor allotted to them. And the atmospherians who have not been redeemed from darkness in that day shall alight on a new world and also fulfill their labor. See Books of Jehovah and Safa. And you know what? A book I just started was one of the books from Susan Martinez. It's called The Time of the Quickening. And it was one of them books in that list that I told you that I ordered from her whole library. Actually, I ordered her whole library. But in it, that book, The Time of the Quickening, it literally goes into all the math and cosmology and prophecy and just really giving a breakdown, right? I'm still in the introduction. I'm like, what did you just say? And so I had to go back, but some of what she was saying was sinking in, and it was explaining this a little bit. Hold on, y'all. Jace, come back down. Come back down. Y'all two go up. Come down. Come on. Go. You saying it? Come back. No, come back down here. Bella trying to break baby girl free, trying to sneak them all back upstairs. Like, we don't have a whole opening right here where I see you pushing them past the open, trying to get them upstairs. Okay. So, but for those of y'all who need a little bit more help, the book is like that thick. She really spends a lot of time, and it's a lot of research that clearly has gone into this book to help you understand it. She like break it down to the least common denominator to help you understand. So like I said, I'm still in the introduction. I had to reread that a couple times, but I'm getting it. And she pulled all this stuff out of here, out of OAHSPE. She really did a deep study of this. So that's really good. It's called Time of the Quickening. And I'll post it again. I'll post that book by itself again with all these pictures. Okay. So the next plate is plate 38 on page 478. It's the earth and her plateau. So I'll show you the picture. We're at 123. And I thought I showed, wait a minute. I'm gonna read this last little 2 chapters because this will be the end. So let me finish this. I'm gonna show you these pictures, and these last 2 chapters are really short. Like 9 is 17 verses, and chapter 10 is the last chapter, and it's 20 verses. I'm going to show you these pictures, and we're going to read these last 2 chapters, and we'll end it here. And I'll show this long pullout too. Okay. Plate 38, Earth and her plateau. Right? Okay. So here, this part is Earth, and this is, I guess, atmosphere or hada. Right? Okay. Can y'all see that? I think everybody can see that. Earth, like the top part. Earth. Okay. So this said, when Jehovah condensed the earth and it became firm and crusted over, there rose up from the earth heat and moisture, which continueth to this day. But Jehovah limited the ascent of the substances going upward, and the boundary of the limit of moisture was as the clouds that float in the air, and the heat was like ascent. And whilst the moisture and heat rise upward, they are met by the etheric substance of the vortex of the earth, and the moisture and the gases of the air assume the form of needles. On the side of the earth, facing Okay, listen. On the side of the earth facing the sun, the needles are polarized and acting, driving forth the which is called light. But on the face of the earth, opposite from the sun, the needles are in confusion, and this is called darkness. Jehovah said that man may comprehend the structure of the belt that holdeth the earth. I will give him a sign high up in the air. And Jehovah caused the vapor in the firmament to be frozen and fall to the earth white, and it is called snow. Let me read that again. Hold on. Let's go back. On the side of the earth, facing the sun, the needles are polarized and acting, driving forth the which is called light. But on the face of the earth, opposite from the sun, the needles are in confusion, and this is called darkness. Jehovah said that man may comprehend the structure of the belt that holdeth the earth. I will give him a sign high up in the air. And Jehovah caused the vapor in the firmament to be frozen and fall to the earth white, and it is called snow. For the snowdrop showeth the matrix in which it is molded. Jehovah said, let this be a sign also, that even as there riseth up from the earth heat and moisture, there are representatives of all things on the earth which have evaporated upward, and all such things rise up to the level of the density like unto themselves, every one to its own level, and they take their places in the strata of the vortex. These are called plateaus or spheres, for they surround the whole earth. Some of them are 10 miles high, some 1,000, some 100,000 or more miles. All these spheres that rotate and travel with the earth are called atmosphere or lower heavens. Okay, sort of like when we go, whatever level we are, we rise to that level. So if you don't rise any higher than the level of hotter, then we all know what you did while you was down in the light, because you rose to your place. You worshiping the false gods and in these false kingdoms, you rise to that level. Okay, that kind of makes sense. That makes sense. So everything here, when it passes from this corporal state or the fleshly state, when the spirit rises and ascends, it rises to the level of who or what it's connected to. Okay, I get it. Okay. Okay, so the next picture on page 479, plate 39, photospheres. Okay. Yes.
The reason why belts hold on J's is because
I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Go. Listen. Go tell his daddy. Go tell his daddy. You see me live. Okay. So here, this is plate 39, photosphere. Okay. Facebook. All right. YouTube, photosphere. Okay. Alicia, hey girl, hey. Okay, so this is on page 479, and plate 39, photosphere says, Jehovah said, let the sign of the corporal worlds be as the sign of the ethereal worlds. Nevertheless, they shall be independent of one another. Nevertheless, they shall be independent of one another. Neither shall the travel of corporea disturb the motions and positions of ethera, but pass through as if there were nothing. But the behavior of the ethereal worlds on corporea shall be to bring them to maturity and old age and final dissolution. And it was so. And there floated in the midst of ethera certain densities called Agi and Ga and Nebula, which sometimes augmented the size of the traveling corporal worlds, and sometimes illumined them on the borders of the vortices, and these were called photospheres, because they were the places of the generation of light. See Book of Cosmology. We're going to get to that. That's the next book, right? So I'm not going to hop ahead. I'm trying to keep all this stuff in order myself. Plate 40, snowflakes. Listen, okay. So this is plate 40, and it has all the different, this is really interesting. Now I got to, have y'all, I'm sure everybody here has, but have you ever caught snowflakes, and if you pay attention to them, you see them. They fall in some of these different designs. I thought that was so awesome the way that happens, and every single snowflake that falls is in a different shape or structure, or whatever you want to call it. It's a different design. It's beautiful. It's amazing. Okay, so here, plate 40 snowflakes, and it has some of the different ones, and I've seen quite a few of these catching snow and paying attention to it, right? Okay, so this is for Facebook. All right, YouTube. And I'm sure y'all probably been screen capturing some of this, but I'm gonna post, like I said, I'm gonna post it. Okay, so let me read. Just like DNA, standing on the truth. Shalom, Kendrick. Shalom. Listen, yes, just like DNA. This blows me away. Okay. Under plate 40 for snowflakes, it says, Jehovah said, the corporeal worlds I created round with land and water, and I made them impenetrable, for I bring forth the living on the surface of them. Let not man imagine that my Ethereal worlds are also round and impenetrable, for of all I have created, no two alike created I them. Now it came to pass in the lapse of time that the atmospherians so loved the lower heavens that they strove not to ascend to the emancipated heavens of nirvana, never having reached the bridge of Chenvat, but they oft returned to the earth and held converse with corporeans, and they lauded the glories of even the lower heavens, so that man looked up in wonder because of the magnificence of the works of the Father. Yes, these were bounden spirits. Then, hold on. I'm skipping a lot, I think. Yet these were bounden spirits. Then Jehovah made the snowflake and caused it to fall, that man might behold the beauty and glory of its formation. And he sent Ethereans down from the emancipated heavens, and these taught man that whatever glory he had yet heard of was as darkness is to light, compared to the beauty and majesty of the Ethereal worlds.
Mom, I can end it.
No, you can't, because you're being hard-headed today. Go back upstairs. I told you not to come back down. And the Ethereans held up snowflakes, saying, in the name of Jehovah, we declared unto you that the Ethereal worlds are larger than the earth, and penetrable, and full of roadways of crystals, and its beauty and glory. And the firmament of heaven have tens of thousands of millions of Ethereal worlds. Let the snowflakes be before your eyes as microscopic patterns of the worlds in high heaven, and ye shall tint them as a rainbow, and people them with countless millions of angels, spotless, pure. Hold on, let me just start that whole sentence over. Listen. Let the snowflakes be before your eyes as microscopic patterns of the worlds in high heaven, and ye shall tint them as a rainbow, and people them with countless millions of angels, spotless, pure, holy, and rich in the knowledge of Jehovah and his works, and full of the majesty of his love. This is beautiful. Okay, plate 41 is light. This one right here. I think everybody can see this. Look like the sun and the moon, right? So this plate 41 is called light. And under it, it says, Jehovah said, in times past, man beheld the sun, saying, the sun is the creator of all the things. Light and heat come from the sun. Then Jehovah said, I will put a sign in the firmament, and no man shall gainsay the work of my hand. And above the earth, to the north and the south, he placed polar lights, that man might bear witness that light depended not on corporea, and had no part therewith. But the sun he placed in the midst of the great vortex, so that every side was as a pole to the corporeal worlds around it. And Jehovah made Ethera as a condensing lens, so that the rotation of each and every corporal world should manufacture its own light, and on the side poling to the sun by the rotation of its wark, W-A-R-K, and vortex. And man saw the atmosphere turned the earth, and that the earth turned not atmosphere. That's good. All right, plate 42. To sang. See Book of Cosmology, chapter 1, verse 33. It looks like an arrowhead. This right here.